All right, welcome back to Socedo Live. We've got episode 28 today, and today I've got a very special guest. I've got Drew Milam with me today, Global Social Media Manager, Senior Manager of Social Media Marketing at F5 Networks. And this is really exciting. It's a massive company that's local in town, going after the B2B IT audience. And this is like the total sweet spot of companies that we work with, as obviously Socedo is super focused on B2B social media marketing. And one of the reasons why I love to bring folks in like Drew is because, you know, and we've talked about this on the show before, B2B social media marketing is just different than B2C, right? And the amount that B2B companies are investing in social media, their goals are different, the way that they invest resources into social media is different. And so having Drew here today will give you a little bit of a sense for how things operate at F5 Networks. They are a customer of Socedo, and so we'll learn a little bit about how Socedo fits into that mix. But Drew, why don't you start by just kind of giving us a high level? What does the social strategy look like at F5 Networks? What are some of the goals? How do you kind of think broadly about your position and the resources that you kind of manage at F5?
Yeah, as far as my responsibilities at F5 Networks, like you said, in the B2B space, I think social media is still something that is slowly being adopted and seeing the value of. I've been there a little bit over 3 years, and I was kind of the first dedicated full-time social media resource to the company. And now our team of one is growing next week, so we're expanding and getting more investment. But one of the big things that we are really seeing is social media just being another extension of our marketing efforts to kind of get the word out there about all of our products, our thought leadership, some of our new initiatives, especially kind of in the security space. And social media more than anything is turning into a better kind of avenue for us to get the marketing content out there, reach new audience, as well as kind of continue those relationships with our existing user base as well.
And I think this is it's interesting to know that you guys are actually doubling your resources around social media marketing. I think that historically, when you think about a company like F5 Networks going after the IT decision maker, the CIO audience, you typically don't say, hey, those people are on social media and that's where we want to go find them. But I think that B2B companies like F5 are coming to the realization that everybody's on social media. We're spending more and more time there, and that's got to be part of the marketing mix. And it obviously is growing as well. It's becoming a bigger and bigger component of what you guys are doing.
Yeah. And as far as kind of the results and how we kind of prove that investment, that's been a huge difficult process, especially in the B2B landscape, as far as when you have much longer sales cycles, especially for a product set like F5, even though it is changing, sometimes our sales cycles can be 6 to 12 months.
Right.
So you're not necessarily going to make a sale off a tweet like you may in a consumer landscape. But in B2B, that's one of the things that we're trying to do is really feed that top of the funnel. If that's just kind of driving people to our website, getting webinar registrations, giving them white papers or other valuable pieces of content that we can kind of start to nurture that relationship at the very top and kind of start to pass them through the whole kind of marketing funnel and other groups and kind of handing them off to sales as well. So, really kind of showing that value, if it's impressions, kind of growing our community with the right people, as well as kind of getting those new leads from kind of high-level assets like a webinar or white paper.
Right. So, a CIO isn't going to buy $1 million worth of networking products by clicking on one tweet. And that's a good realization to come to. I think a lot of B2B companies need to realize that. So what do you look for then? You mentioned kind of webinar registrations, traffic that you're driving, engagement. Are those kind of the key pieces that you're looking at to say, hey, we're being successful here on social media?
Yeah, that's it's definitely big pieces. We follow our community size. We want to make sure that that's growing and growing in the right way. We want to get quality followers, not just a higher number. We look at our impressions and our engagement as well as our engagement rate, because we want to make sure that the content that we're putting out there really resonates with our followers and our community, as well as then even further into those engagements, the traffic to websites, to thought leadership content, or where we're mentioned in the news, as well as even digging further into our Google Analytics on the website. And when we're sending people to the website, what's their journey from there?
Right.
Where are they going? from one piece of content. How do we feed those people with the next piece of content, next piece of content to kind of keep them on that journey, keep them engaged, learning about our solutions, our products, and what else that they can do with our suite of solutions or products that can really kind of feed the sales funnel to kind of upsell and get more business.
Right. And so one of the interesting things about what you said there is I think you used the word community 3 or 4 times, and I didn't hear the word leads or MQLs. And I think this is an interesting piece because communities in the B2B landscape are super tight-knit, especially when you're talking about network engineers or developers or IT pros, and really in a lot of B2B audiences, that's why conferences and events are so key to the strategy. And then I think a lot of people come to social media and they're just thinking about leads, right? And you're really thinking about community first, and how does that kind of filter into the sales funnel? Tell us a little bit about your community strategy. I know you have multiple Twitter handles. You're kind of thinking about multiple communities. Tell us a little bit about that mix.
Yeah, and one of the first things I'll kind of say about that is, in the B2B landscape more than anything, or maybe all organizations, it's really interesting to see where social media kind of falls under what org and what responsibilities, because that really kind of drives your metrics and your ROI or what you're supposed to be accomplishing more than anything. So, one of the things that F5 is now kind of trying to do with our community is we have kind of best of breed product when it comes to load balancing, application delivery, and the people that work on that product aren't necessarily your security people. So, we have this kind of install base. This is what I kind of learned when I started about 3 years ago. This install base, this community of these people, but we're trying to reach these other people that they may be in the same office, they may be on the same floor, but they don't talk or they don't have the same responsibilities. So, that's one of the things that we've really been trying to do is we have a corporate handle and now we have a security handle, because we kind of realize that these people, they're 2 different audiences. They may have overlap or they may be somewhat interested in kind of the high level things, but we really need to kind of dedicate one channel to those security people, because what they're interested in and what our kind of solutions do is different to the security people than it is to kind of the network admin, system admin.
And it's super interesting. We see this all the time where our customers are like, we just want to go after the decision maker, and they forget about all the people influencing that decision maker. Drew, I think we've got about 2 minutes left here, and I can't let you get away without me asking the question, how are you guys using Socedo at F5 Networks?
Yeah, Socedo has been a great tool for us. We found that when we started trying to kind of grow our community in the right way, Twitter follower campaigns wasn't really bringing in the right people, and Socedo definitely allowed us to target a lot more specific type of people based on bio, based on what they're talking about, what they're tweeting about, and going through and getting those people to join the community, as well as then serving them up a piece of content that we thought that they would find valuable. So that has been a huge help for us to grow our community, especially in the security audience, with our security handle, and then we also started a new one for our labs, F5 Labs channel, which has been a huge success to really target security, cybersecurity professionals who we want to serve up our thought leadership content that doesn't really sell products, but it shows our thought leadership in the security space. And, it's allowed us to serve up webinars as well as interact with people for events. And we've used it for a number of different things and kind of trial and error. But we've really just seen, more than anything, a great growth in our community and with the right people as well.
That's awesome. And I think, at Socedo, we think about social media as one big CRM, right? Everybody's got their job title out there. They're talking about what they're interested in. And so when you're talking about building very specific B2B audiences and community, that's really where we kind of see our strengths and where we help companies like F5 Networks. And so if you're interested in starting a trial of Socedo, www.socedo.com. Thanks for joining the show today.